Well, let's start tonight in New York State and talk about child poverty. An Albany area Republican, Senator Jake Ashby, says the state should expand the child tax credit to give $1,000 to parents of newborns. They'd get the money even if they don't owe that much in taxes. Lisa, is this a good idea?
You know, I'm kind of meh on this. You know, certainly helping child poverty, alleviate child poverty is a very laudable goal. I don't know whether this would make a meaningful impact or not.
It seems like the one during the pandemic was really helpful.
Yeah, and I mean, there are other child tax credits, as I understand it, a federal child tax credit. You know, I just don't know whether the amount of money, it also isn't targeted to child poverty, right? Everybody would get it. So rich people who have a child would get this money. So I wonder about that. I wonder also about another motivation for it that I've seen is that it would encourage people to have children. And of course, I don't know whether that's true or not. And I also, while it's said often that affordability of life is a reason why people are having fewer children, when you look at the surveys, people are saying other reasons, right? They're saying it's because, you know, there is an increased focus on individualism and freedom, and people are finding partners late in life, and you know, I saw a study, they just don't want to, they're focused on other things. So I don't know about that motivation either. And of course, there's always a question about whether this priority versus other priorities, and it's affordability.
Then it would cost about $200 million. I was surprised to know there's 200,000 babies born in New York State every year. So is that too high a price?
It depends on what you're taking it away from, right? I mean, it's less than 1% of the state budget, but is it, you know, it's a one-time, I'm with Lisa. I mean, it's a one-time $1,000, and $1,000 is a lot of money, but so is having a baby. So, I don't know how sustainable it is, how helpful it is. You know, I just feel like there could be other ways to help families in a more sustainable way. Now, the potential long-term benefit of helping somebody, you know, a young family up front could be offsetting than having this looming medical bill that continues to grow. But I just don't know how impactful it is for the amount of money.
I'm not a meh, I'm a heck yeah. This is the clearest, simplest, most effective way to cut child poverty. We've seen that in the states that have done it. We've seen it in other countries that have these types of policies. The question to me is not if we should do it, it's how much and for how long. So we're talking about one-time payments at birth. From 0 to 6 is when you can have the greatest financial impact in alleviating poverty with this types of policies. So I think the question is how much should it be and how long should it last? And I would not do it just one time. I would do it from 0 to 6 on an annual basis for parents, because it'll cut child poverty by a third or a half. And when this city, half the children are in poverty, if we can eliminate that or significantly decrease it, I think we have the moral responsibility to do so.
Now, yeah. Luke, both Harris and Trump have a child tax credit plan too of like $5,000 or $6,000. Would you still do it in the state if that goes through? Or maybe that's not going to go through?
That's a good question. I think it's uncertain at the federal level. Obviously, it's campaign season. People are proposing a lot of things. Divided government has been the norm. So even if Democrats want to do this, Republicans may not. But interestingly, Republicans like Mitt Romney have been in favor of expanding the child tax credit for this very reason. He comes from the state of Utah that has more babies than anybody else. And they know that this is a great way to alleviate poverty. So to answer your question, I would say the states need to do what they can at this point, and then if federal policy changes, state policy could always change if needed.
And just to jump on that, I mean, and this isn't like a thing that Republicans have not done. Under the Trump administration, they did similar initiatives. But I agree with Luke that we look at it more long-term than a one-off.
And there already is a state child tax credit, right? That's annual. It's $330, right? So it's, you know, not a lot of money, but it's not like New York doesn't already do an actual annual child tax credit.
Going back to the Republicans, I thought it was a little strange the Republican had proposed this. And you're saying I didn't know Romney had proposed this. This doesn't seem to be in line with traditional Republican thinking, or am I wrong on that?
It doesn't, although there is this notion of encouraging people to have babies, which is one reason why I mentioned that. That is a sort of Republican idea?
I think your concern about giving it to everybody is a valid one. Policy analysts that look at welfare policy have moved more in that direction because it's easier to build support if you're giving it to everybody. And beyond that, it also sort of eliminates this deserving versus undeserving debate that often comes about. So yes, it's not optimal, but I can understand why that's the policy move here.
Yeah, the encouraging growing families is spot on, along with the smaller government, which is the traditional Republican front that you were talking about.